It is the world's only Duvel-themed cafe where you can exclusively get Duvel beer on draft. Welcome to Bruges. Bruges is a very popular tourist attraction in the far west of Belgium. And Bruges mainly means history. Bruges has been, in its golden age, one of the richest cities in Europe. And Bruges is surprisingly well preserved. Bruges never became an industrial city and it was spared during the 2 World Wars. The historic centre of Bruges is now on the UNESCO World Heritage List, and you can see its grandeur all over the city centre, like here on the market square. And therefore we think Bruges is the perfect central point for our chocolate and beer tour. The market square is the epic centre of Bruges. In the Middle Ages because of its market function, and nowadays because of the beauty of all the surrounding buildings. There's always a pleasant hustle and bustle here, especially on a beautiful day like this, with nice terraces to enjoy. And for the many tourists, you can take a horse carriage ride through the city. This Belfort is the tallest building on the market square of Bruges. Like the other Belforts in Belgium, the Netherlands and northern France, this tower has no religious character. It is a tower in which the city clocks were hung. Sometimes it was built as a separate tower, but often it was built at a Lijkenhal, a cloth hall or another town hall, like here in Bruges. The Belfort here in Bruges dates back from the 13th century. And it was a stone part with a wooden spire on top, but that was soon lost to a fire. The stone part was rebuilt, but after another fire in the 18th century, it has been rebuilt total. If you want, you can climb the 83-meter high tower and enjoy a beautiful view over the city of Bruges. But we've got some other stuff to do, so we'll leave the climbing for now. Also on the market square you can find this historium for if you're interested in the history of Bruges. It's an interactive museum and it does get high ratings. So we will share the link for you if you are interested in going. But this being the chocolate and beer tour, we are more interested in the Duvelorium on the first floor of the Historium. It is the world's only Duvel-themed cafe where you can exclusively get Duvel beer on draft. And with a panoramic terrace, you still get to enjoy the view without climbing all the stairs. So, cheers! Especially the direct connection to the North Sea and the good logistics in Bruges led to its prosperity in the Middle Ages. A lot of the original waterways have been filled in and the waterways don't have any logistic meaning anymore. The remaining canals of Bruges are now mainly being used for tourist boat trips from March till mid-November. And it's a really nice way to see the city. On the south side of the historic centre of Bruges, you will find this Church of Our Lady. And if you are interested, it is definitely worth a visit if it's open, because it holds Michelangelo's famous Madonna with Child, which was intended for the Piccolomini altar of the Duomo in Siena. But a merchant of Bruges bought it in 1540 and donated it to the church. The sculpture was removed by the French occupier in 1794 and by the German occupier in 1944, but it could luckily always be returned. Also, don't miss this square called the Burg, right next to the market square, as it is said to be one of the most beautiful squares in Bruges. In the Middle Ages, it was a walled fortress and could only be reached through entrance gates. And there's only one left now. It's especially pretty at the end of a sunny day like this. But enough about the history of Bruges. We are here for chocolate and beer. And because we already had our first taste of beer at the Duvelorium, it's time to talk some chocolate. As you probably know, Belgium is famous for its chocolate and especially its pralines, a candy coated with chocolate, with different fillings. Nut-based, cream-based, nougat, dried fruit and maybe even some liquor. Apparently, Bruges on its own holds already 50 chocolate shops, and it is the most bought souvenir. But Bruges also has this chocolate museum, Choco Story. It tells the story of the origin and evolution of chocolate by a unique collection. It reveals how chocolate is made, and you will be able to taste the chocolate that is made in the museum. And if you want to visit, we will share the link with you. But we are more interested in beer. And if you are too, this is a good spot to go. The brewery, the Halve Maan. Bruges had dozens of beer breweries in the city. In the Middle Ages, people drank more beer than water, because the beer, due to its process, was safer to drink than the water, and it only contained 1% alcohol. But as the water got safer to drink, all the beer breweries disappeared from the city, except this one, the Halve Maan Brewery, which is famous for its Straffe Hendrik, which is famous for its Brugse Zot, and Straffe Hendrik. Recently, another microbrewery returned into the city of Bruges, the Bourgogne des Flandres. You can also visit that brewery, but we just had a tour in the Halve Maan brewery. It is quite a busy place, so if you want to visit, book your tickets in advance. But also, if you want to have lunch or dinner here at the brasserie or its terrace, reserve your table. But of course, you can also just wander the streets of the city of Bruges and look for one of the many beer cafes that you will find here. But we do want to show you this one, as it is quite a hidden one, and I know from experience that they have my favorite beer. This is Beer Café De Garre, and we will share a link with you, so if you want to go, you can look it up for your road trip. Also want some tips on where to stay in Bruges with perfect parking for your bike? That video will be in the middle of your screen to keep going crazy now. And then, of course, if you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell as well, because then we will see you in our next crazy ride.